The second point. The divine name all just.
وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا عِندَنَا خَزَائِنُهُ وَمَا نُنَزِّلُهُ إِلَّا بِقَدَرٍ مَّعْلُومٍ.
And there is not a thing but its sources and treasures, inexhaustible, are with us, but we only send down thereof in due and ascertainable measures. 1521. One point concerning this verse and one manifestation of the name all just. Which is a greatest name or one of the 6 lights comprising the greatest name, like the first point, appeared to me from afar while in Eskişehir Prison. In order to bring it closer to the understanding, we say the following, again by means of a comparison. The universe is a palace, but it is such a palace that within it is a city that suffers the upheavals of constant destruction and reconstruction. Within the city is a country that is being continuously agitated by war and emigration. Within the country is a world which is unceasingly revolving amid death and life. But such an astonishing balance, equilibrium and equilibration prevail in the palace, city, country and world that itself evidently proves that the transformations, and incomings and outgoings apparent in their innumerable beings are being measured and weighed every moment on the scales of a single being who sees and supervises the whole universe. For if it had been otherwise, if causes had been free and unrestrained, which trail wide to destroy the balance and overrun everything, with a single fish laying 1,000 eggs and a single flower like the poppy producing 20,000 seeds, and with the onslaught and violence of change and the elements flowing in floods, or if it had been referred to aimless, purposeless chance, anarchic blind forces, and unconscious dark nature, the equilibrium of beings and balance of the universe would have been so utterly destroyed that within a year, indeed within a day, there would have been chaos. That is to say, the seas would have been filled with wreckage in total disorder and confusion and would have become fetid. The atmosphere would have been poisoned with noxious gases. And as for the earth, it would have turned into a refuse heap, slaughterhouse, and swamp. The world would have suffocated. Thus, everything from the cells of an animate body, the red and white corpuscles in the blood, the transformations of minute particles, and the mutual proportion and relation of the body's organs, to the incomings and outgoings of the seas, the income and expenditure of springs under the earth, the birth and death of animals and plants, the destruction of autumn and the reconstruction of spring, the duties and motion of the elements and the stars, and the alternations, struggles and clashes of death and life, light and darkness, and heat and cold, are ordered and weighed with so sensitive a balance, so fine a measure, that the human mind can nowhere see any waste or futility, just as human science and philosophy observe everywhere and demonstrate the most perfect order and beautiful symmetry. Indeed, human science and philosophy are a manifestation and interpreter of that order and symmetry. So, come and consider the balance and equilibrium of the Sun and its 12 planets. Does it not point as clearly as the Sun to the all-glorious One who is all-just and all-powerful? Especially our ship, that is, the globe of the Earth, which is one of the planets. It travels an orbit of 24,000 years in 1 year, not scattering or shaking the things stored up and stacked on its face, despite its extraordinary speed, nor throwing them off into space. If its speed had been increased or reduced just a little, it would have thrown its inhabitants off into the atmosphere, and scattered them through space. And if its balance was to be destroyed for a minute, or even a second, it would destroy the world. Indeed, it would clash with another body and doomsday would break forth. Especially the compassionate balance on the face of the earth of the births, deaths, livelihoods, and lives of the 400,000 plant and animal species. It shows a single just and compassionate one, as clearly as light shows the sun. Especially the members, faculties, and senses of a single of the innumerable members of those species. They are related to each other with so fine a balance and equilibrium that their balance and mutual proportion show an all-wise and just Maker so clearly as to be self-evident. Especially the cells and blood vessels in the bodies of animals, and the corpuscles in the blood and particles in the corpuscles. They have such a fine, sensitive, and wondrous balance that it self-evidently proves that they are being nurtured and administered through the balance, law, and order of a single all-just and wise Creator who holds the reins of all things, has the key to all things, for whom nothing is an obstacle to anything else, and directs all things as easily as a single thing. If someone who does not believe or deems it unlikely that the deeds of jinn and men will be weighed up on the supreme scales of justice at the Last Judgment notes carefully this vast balance, which he can observe in this world with his own eyes, he will surely no longer consider it unlikely. O wasteful, prodigal, wrongful, unjust, dirty, unclean, wretched man! You have not acted in accordance with the economy, cleanliness, and justice that are the principles by which the whole universe and all beings act, and are therefore in effect the object of their anger and disgust. On what do you rely that through your wrongdoing and disequilibrium, your wastefulness and uncleanliness, you make all beings angry? Yes, the universal wisdom of the universe, which is the greatest manifestation of the divine name of all wise, turns on economy and lack of waste. It commands frugality. And the total justice in the universe proceeding from the greatest manifestation of the name all just, administers the balance of all things and enjoins justice on man. Mentioning the word balance 4 times, the verses in Surah Al-Rahman.
والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان.
And the firmament has he raised high, and he has set up the balance of justice, in order that you may not transgress due balance. So establish weight with justice and fall not short in the balance. 35-7, 9. Indicate 4 degrees and 4 sorts of balance, showing its immensity and supreme importance in the universe. Yes, just as there is no wastefulness in anything, so in nothing is there true injustice or imbalance. The cleanliness and purification proceeding from the name Most Holy cleans and makes beautiful all the beings in the universe. So long as man's dirty hand does not interfere, there is no true uncleanliness or ugliness in anything. So you may understand how basic to human life are the principles of justice, frugality, and cleanliness, which are truths of the Quran and Islamic principles. And know how closely connected with the universe are the injunctions of the Quran, having spread their firm roots everywhere, and that it is as impossible to destroy those truths as it is to destroy the universe and change its form. Is it at all possible that although hundreds of comprehensive truths like these 3 vast lights, such as mercy, grace, and preservation, require and necessitate the resurrection of the dead and the hereafter, such powerful and all-encompassing truths as mercy, favor, justice, wisdom, frugality, and cleanliness, which govern in the universe and all beings, should be transformed into unkindness, tyranny, lack of wisdom, wastefulness, uncleanliness, and futility, by there being no hereafter and the resurrection not occurring? God forbid, 100,000 times, God forbid. Would a mercy and wisdom which compassionately preserve the rights of life of a fly violate the countless rights of life of all conscious beings and the numberless rights of numberless beings, by not bringing about the resurrection? And if one may say so, would a splendid dominicality which displays infinite sensitivity and care in its mercy and compassion and justice and wisdom, and a divine sovereignty which adorns the universe with his endless wondrous arts and bounties in order to display his perfections and make himself known and loved, permit there to be no resurrection, which would reduce to nothing the value of creatures and all their perfections, and make them denied? God forbid. Such an absolute beauty clearly would not permit such absolute ugliness. Yes, the person who wants to deny the hereafter must first deny all the world and all its truths. Otherwise the world together with all its truths will give him the lie with 100,000 tongues, proving the compounded nature of his lie. The 10th word proves with certain evidences that the existence of the hereafter is as definite and indubitable as the existence of this world. You can subscribe to our channel by clicking on the profile picture.